So, I think for the most part, I've given up playing online multiplayer games at the moment. That doesn't mean I won't play with my friends occasionally, but I mean the solo online multiplayer grind. There are a few different games I can think back to in different phases of my life that, although I did play with friends, I mostly sunk my time into the solo grind, and it nearly killed my love for video games because it became a procrastination habit and a distraction rather than a fun, intentional decision about how I would like to spend my time. So, like many other teenagers, I played a lot of Call of Duty from about 2011 to 2019 or so. I do look back on that time pretty fondly because I spent a lot of it interacting with friends and random people in online lobbies, which is how I believe these games should be experienced. But as time went on, I played with other people less and less, especially around the time of Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare. There was a brief resurgence when all my friends hopped on MW 2019 and again when MW2 2022 came out. But since then, I've fallen out of love with these games like many other people have, and not just due to a lack of quality. When I played a lot of COD by myself back in the day, it still felt quite enjoyable, and I think that's because I was still very young. That's when you naturally have less responsibilities and are able to get more engrossed in things, maybe because you feel less pressure to use your time wisely. I also didn't have a variety of hobbies that I was interested in at the time. Video games were my main thing, really. But when I gave Black Ops 6 a go in 2024, I had changed quite a bit, and it really started to weigh on me how much I was using this game as a distraction. Don't get me wrong, in a lot of ways the game was fun for me because I had taken a long enough break for it to not become stale, and I would occasionally play with friends, but so often when I was playing I would be thinking, I should be making some music or practicing an instrument, or I would like to try making YouTube videos or music content, or I could be watching a film I've been wanting to watch, or I could be playing something else, but instead I would keep playing COD. I guess in the moment it feels easier to stick to what you know rather than try something unfamiliar or difficult, but in the long run it can be really draining. This isn't to say that we shouldn't have downtime, not everything is about being productive, but our downtime should be fun and intentional, and it should be balanced with our responsibilities and other passion projects. Then again, I guess the word should can put on a lot of unnecessary pressure. I think the key is balance, and I generally feel better when I try to give a little bit of time to each of my hobbies every day, but that doesn't necessarily mean I always do. Naturally, I eventually lost interest in Black Ops 6, but I had a previous similar experience with Halo Infinite. If you know me at all, you know that I was so insanely hyped for this game. I am a huge Halo nerd, and everything the game was shaping up to be was looking like the perfect Halo game. I won't go into everything that let me down because I would be here for ages, and it would require its own video really, but safe to say the game had a lot of glaring issues. Those first few months were genuinely amazing. I was enjoying a fresh new Halo campaign for the first time in God knows how long, and the multiplayer was really fun, and some of my friends were playing it. There were a lot of issues at launch, but like many other optimistic Halo fans, I firmly believed that they would be sorted out quickly and we would soon have the greatest Halo game since Halo Reach. I was very wrong, even though they absolutely failed to deliver on their promises in a timely manner, which wasn't entirely on 343 thanks to a broken game engine and very harsh deadlines. I vehemently stuck with and defended the game for about 2 or 3 years. During that time, I was firmly in the grind, and for a while I did still really enjoy it, but by the time they had finally delivered on all the promises and made a really great Halo game, I had completely lost interest. Most of the time, I was using it as a distraction and an unconscious habit instead of an actually enjoyable use of my time. Often I was just playing to level up the battle pass or unlock cosmetics, even if I didn't want to play it and wasn't having a good time. It was like clocking into a job that I wasn't getting paid for and had made myself believe that I needed to do. The limited time events put on a lot of pressure to unlock items within a short time frame, otherwise they would be gone forever and you would miss out on them. And trying to replicate the passion I had felt for the game when it first came out had left me disappointed. Some of it is quite funny now that I look back on it. So I enjoy making sample-based hip-hop, and naturally you have to search and dig a bit for cool sounds. So instead of sitting down and listening solely and closely to the music, I would instead load up Halo, put Spotify on in the background and try to listen out for cool samples while I was playing, which I would then note down, tell myself I would go work on it after this match, and then keep playing instead. What I really think was happening was that I was procrastinating, avoiding the inner critic, avoiding the feeling of analysis paralysis and the fear of creating something bad. The inner critic was telling me, this has to be good, you have to make a good song. So I would let that fear and pressure get to me to the point where I wouldn't even try. I think everyone has an inner critic, and I've had to do a lot of shadow work to build a healthier and more balanced relationship with mine. Something that has changed the way I relate to these worries and fears is by changing my definition of success. I used to get really down on myself when I made a bad song, for example, because I had based my success and self-worth on its quality. Now I instead set a timer for that hobby, an hour of music production for example, and I try to base my success and self-worth on showing up for that amount of time. This has massively helped my inner critic and calmed the fear of a bad creation, because at the end of the day, creative hobbies are unpredictable and they don't always go well, and you can't let its quality define how you feel about yourself. I think we often avoid the things we really want to do or need to do because we are scared of failure. But the truth is that failure is a natural part of our lives. We can't control every outcome, and we're not always going to get it right, but failure is nothing to be scared of or ashamed of. Every mistake you make or idea that doesn't go anywhere is still a lesson learned and an opportunity to grow. Anyway, tangent aside, I think the point is that online multiplayer games had become a method of avoidance and procrastination for me, and maybe you've had a similar experience. I eventually gave up on Halo, and the next game to pull me back into that cycle was the newest Skate game. So again, I actually really enjoyed my time with the game when it came out. I played mostly by myself, but I also played a little bit with my friends and a fair bit with my brother, which was nice. But it wasn't long until I was repeating the exact same patterns as before, grinding out all the daily missions and daily tasks and challenges purely just to see numbers go up and to unlock cosmetics, as well as tirelessly defending the game's faults, remaining hopeful that the game would improve. This time, however, the loss of interest came a lot quicker than with other games, and it wasn't necessarily because I was doing something more productive, but simply it was stopping me from playing other cool games that I wanted to try out. I was just getting so tired of putting so much time into a game that wasn't respecting it. I think modern online multiplayer games are designed to be addictive, much like social media nowadays. By their nature, they can be played endlessly. They literally never end, and that can actually mentally limit us. There's something really nice about playing a moderately sized single-player game because there is an actual end in sight. You can finish it, maybe go for some of the collectibles if you want, and then put it down once you lose interest. Even retro games that are more casual were designed to be quick bursts of fun, where you would play for a bit, then put it down for the day, and not be demanded so much of your time and attention. I'm not just saying that online multiplayer games are bad and single-player games are good. Online multiplayer games can be a really lovely way to catch up with your friends and family, make new friends or join communities. But they can also be a comfort bubble that stops being a fun way to spend your free time and becomes a way to avoid conflict, failure, or tough decisions. Don't get me wrong though, a lot of single-player games can absolutely be way too long and time-consuming and be used to procrastinate. Just now even, I was playing Mario Kart because I didn't want to record this video. But there's also a lot of games that respect your time and don't ask so much of you. So let me know if you've had a similar experience with online games. Maybe there's one that's got a hold on you now. If you are genuinely enjoying your time with it, that's great. Please don't let me stop you from having a good time, but it is worth asking yourself how you actually feel when you're playing it. Does it feel like I'm having fun, or is it just a distraction that I play purely out of habit? I'm honestly having a lot more fun with video games again, now that I'm making more intentional decisions about what I'm playing and how I'm choosing to spend my time.